My UFO encounter, if you're interested, I was on top of a hotel in Tenerife. It had a swimming pool so you could lay there. I was with someone, and out of nowhere, sky was totally clear blue. I was looking up, and out of nowhere this black object came out and went like this, and had to turn. And about this point I mentioned to the person I was with that, hey, what's that? That person said, my God, what is it? And we watched it fly off towards Mount Teide, which is a volcano. About 5 minutes later, a black helicopter came flying towards the same direction that went. So it came out of a portal by the looks of it, and obviously because it had to turn, portals don't exactly go where you want. You sort of, looks like they're restricted to where the portals go. UFOs have been reported over volcanoes all the time, and yes, there's something to do with the radiation or something like that they're interested in, because UFOs were seen over Fukushima after it had had the accident, and actually the radiation went. This is a little doozy, you may have heard of this one before. So basically a UFO apparently crashed into a windmill, an old windmill, back in around the 1897 mark, and it crashed, and the town folk there were horrified to see these little grey aliens dead. So they didn't know what to do, so they actually buried them in an undisclosed location. However, and that's the headpiece, however, they've since been moved or stolen by the government. Why would they take them away if they're not really real? But hey, you guess where I'm going with that. Now, the people that was there where the ship crashed owned the land, and what they'd done was they took the pieces of the smashed UFO and threw them down the well, and that well then became contaminated with some sort of radiation, and now people could never drink from it. A very interesting story about a UFO crash in New Mexico, but not the Roswell one. This was a different one back in 1948, a year after apparently, although there's some debate whether it was before or after. But a couple of people was out in the area. It was a sort of desert area. They saw a crashed UFO. They contacted the police contacted the army turned up, told the people that they never saw anything. One of the people that was there, I believe, from what I read, you have to ignore this for a minute, they said that they looked inside and saw body parts, human body parts, as well as little greys, and so did one of the army people that actually was there. But now you've got these things here which saying it's a hoax, saying that someone or a couple of people were trying to pretend that they've got alien tech to sell on. But let's be honest, 1948, there's no internet. Roswell was supposedly a weather balloon, so who's going to even want to buy anything off of them? Because this is just this. There are creatures that live in space that don't need ships or helmets or anything like that, and these creatures are like microscopic creatures here on Earth, but these are massive, 3 miles long at least. So NASA was doing an experiment with a tether, and the tether snapped, and the tether is 12 miles long, and that's the tether there, the long thing. Now just watch these creatures come out of nowhere. And the camera was recording was an infrared camera. The astronauts at the time couldn't see these, only the NASA Control Center could see from the video feed. And they asked the astronauts, what do you see? And they just said, well, we see the tether. So it's only on the infrared spectrum that you can see these. Now these things are at least 3 miles long, some of those, or 3 miles round, should I say, because the tether is 12 miles long. NASA admits portals. Now a portal is somewhere that bypasses the middle bit, so in other words you can travel from A to B but without going through A and all the way to B. NASA calls them X points, and they've noticed a few of them around Earth outside our atmosphere, and they open 2 or 3 times a day. And so if you've got a telescope, you'll be able to see, if you're lucky, you keep the telescope going and record it, you'll be able to see UFOs coming and going through these portals. Obviously NASA won't say there's UFOs using them, but they are. Now that's the natural type, they stay in pretty much one place, whereas you've got the other types of portals. One type is a machine, a UFO physical machine that generates a portal in front of it, and then there's another alien type of craft that's kind of like a mixture between a living organism and a spacecraft, and that opens portals.